today we are going to talk about the strategic aspect of using Zoho Campaigns as your email marketing platform. Things or methods that will fetch you better engagement, that will fetch you better ROI, that will make your email marketing more meaningful for your customers. We are going to talk about the complete email marketing strategy today. And we will begin with domain authentication and other etiquettes. However, before that, I will introduce myself. My name is Sushmit. I am a product marketer with Zoho Campaigns, and today I'm joined by Nagraj, who is in the onboarding team as well as in the support team of Zoho Campaigns. I would like to tell a few things before we go ahead with the webinar. If you face any technical glitch, visual or audio related difficulties, please put in your query in the question section. You will get that in this. You'll be provided with that during the webinar. You can write to us, and we'll try to resolve the issue as soon as possible. Apart from that, we will have a dedicated Q&A hour right after the webinar presentation is concluded. And then when you are exiting from the webinar, when you are leaving the webinar, we will request you to kindly address a survey that we are conducting. You can go ahead and answer the questions there. After all, as you know, in terms of email marketing, you need to know your customers or contacts much better in order to help them with the better content. So if you can let us know about your views in the survey, then that will help us not only make the product more meaningful for you or that will also help us understand what are the features that you like in our product more. At the same point of time, that will also help us create more meaningful content for you, more effective content for you, so that you can go ahead and make your email marketing much better. So without wasting much time, let's go to the first point, that is domain authentication and other etiquettes. Now, in terms of domain authentication and other etiquettes, few things that we need to keep in mind is SPF and DKIM are the two important aspects that you need to address over here. Let's take a look at the settings option. So in terms of SPF and DKIM, you have to go to the deliverability section in your settings, and then you need to click on domain authentication. And while doing that, you need to check the SPF and DKIM section over here. These are two TXT records that you need to copy and paste in your in your system's TXT record. While you do that, it suggests that your SPF and DKIM records are done. So your domain authentication is complete. Once that is done, you can be rest assured that you have to go ahead and provide these details in your DMARC. What happens is when you provide this in your DMARC, it's basically a certificate from your side to the recipient saying that all the emails that are going from your domain are safe and shouldn't be classified or shouldn't be categorized as spam emails. There is another thing that I want to talk about, that is we have introduced custom return path. If you choose to opt for custom return path, what happens is you get a custom SMTP address. What happens in this case is you get to understand what are the reasons behind your email bounces, and you probably fetch the reasons behind it, and you can understand or gauge where do you need to make it better or where did anything go wrong if it went wrong. So what happens in this case is there's another aspect to it. Now, if you go ahead and complete all the requisites for your custom return path, you automatically complete your SPF domain authentication. That is done in that way. So if while authenticating your domain, you forget to authenticate your domain in the SPF method, you can always be rest assured that if you opt for custom return path, your SPF domain authentication is also complete in that way. Since we already talked about domain authentication and deliverability aspects, next is we will talk about a few or one of the most major best practice that you as an email marketer can go ahead and practice. That is, you can go ahead and seek consent from the people before sending out their email, before sending out email campaigns to them. So what happens is we often take it for granted as to if we collect an email ID or an email address that we can send emails to those people. Again, if someone has provided an email address, then that definitely signifies as a consent. However, you can always be doubly sure. And how can you be doubly sure? You can be doubly sure only when you get a consent from them, and that is well documented. Well, you can do that. In your Zoho Campaigns account, you can go to the settings option, and there you will go into the general settings section, and you can click on manage opt-in, where you will get an option to enable double opt-in or disable it. Again, it's not a problem to disable it, because if someone has given their email IDs to you or email addresses to you, that itself is understandable that it is a consent. It is denoted as a consent. However, from your side, if you want to be doubly sure, you can click on enable double opt-in, and then you can send an email to them via which it can be confirmed that they are interested to receive further email content updates, newsletters from you there thereafter in the future. From this best practice, now we will go into contact management. Now, what happens with regards to contact management is we will address three aspects. Number one, we will address the aspect of list. Then we will talk about segments. And finally, we will talk about the game changer that looks into the aspect of accuracy and definitely sees to it that you are sending out your email campaigns to the targeted audiences, that is topics. So we will begin with managing the lists properly. Now, when we are talking about managing the list, previously what happened in Zoho campaigns was lists were created, like you could go ahead and create lists based on certain criteria, and you could segment people within those lists. What we have done now is we have made the feature of segment transcend to the org level. What happens in this case is what I'll tell you later hereafter. But now we will talk about the aspect of list. Okay. So what happens in terms of list is list helps you categorize your audience based on a few criteria that you provide. For example, a greater example or the best example, if I have to tell you, let's say you collect your audience's email addresses and data and names from different events. One can be a webinar, the other can be a meetup, the other can be an exhibition, the other can be a sign up form. So you have to understand from where have you collected these names. What you can do is just normally name your, you can just normally name your list based on the entry point of those particular contacts, and you can put those particular contacts within that particular list. This is the aspect of list. It looks into the most basic stage of personalization or accuracy in terms of reaching out to people. Now, if we are to take it to the next level, what do? We go ahead and we look into the aspect of segments. Now, segmenting can be done based on two criteria. Number one, something that you decide. Number one, something that your email recipients or contacts decide. If you are deciding from your side, then it has to be based on the data that you have collected. Now, there can be certain commonalities between your your contacts. Now, if there are certain commonalities between your contacts, you can go ahead and create segments like this. You can provide the segment name over here, and you can put a criteria based on as and what you find more effective and you find more much better for your email marketing. So you can go ahead and provide a criteria from our predefined fields over here. You can also create a custom field based on your better approach. You can go ahead and do it, and you can create more segments. Now, more number of segments, what happens is, let's say more the segments, your filtering becomes much, you can say your filtering in that sense becomes much slimmer, in the sense that let's say you have 50 contacts in one list. 25 of them come from one particular area. Let's say 25 of them come from New York. And now you have to understand which place exactly from New York do they come? Do they come from one particular locality in New York? If you want to do that, then you will see there are five people who come close to that. So you can go ahead and choose a city as New York. Then you can create a custom field called locality. Based on that, from among those 50 contacts, you will have those five people who probably live in that same locality and who are basically neighbors to each other. That will give you the most fundamental form of accuracy with regards to email marketing. Again, you will ask me, if segmentation and list takes care of all these things, what is the need of topics? Well, I'll show you what is the need of topics. It's because in terms of when we are talking about topics, we will have to take a few things into account. Now, when we are talking about topics, we are talking about the hierarchy of products or services that you provide. Now, when we are talking about hierarchy of products and services, we take into account a few things. Number one, you can have one company or you can have multiple brands under one name. So based on that, you can create your hierarchy, you can create your preference. Now, under that also you will have certain subcategories. Let's take, for example, Zilka Store. Zilka Store is one particular entity. It's a shop, it's a brand. Under that, there are two kinds of emails that are sent out, promotions and season's greetings. Another set of topics can definitely be added to it. But why am I talking about accuracy? Let's say that until now, whatever I have been talking about was with regards to the people and their data and how you are going to segregate them or segment them or put them under lists based on your understanding or your good knowledge. In the segmentation itself, there is another aspect. The customer's engagement helps you understand where do that person or where does that particular contact be placed. Their engagement behavior can help you understand if they're active, inactive, semi-active. Based on that, you can segment them. But again, there is a certain amount of limitation to them. What if you give your customers the entire freedom to choose the kind of subscription they want, the kind of topics they want? Or you can go ahead and make your good decision based on that when you're adding a contact. Now, as you can see that definitely your topics can be set up in this manner. However, I want to show you that if you have to add a particular contact, then what happens? Let's take, for instance, I add a contact to this particular list. I was talking about accuracy. Where does it get better? Again, the most basic and the most fundamental information is contact email that you provide over here. Then the first name, last name, job title, company name, and additional details that you go ahead and provide. Then you have to provide your contact source. Again, this is very helpful. That gives you the idea as to where does that contact come from. Subscription type, again, marketing, unsubscribe, non-marketing. Why are we talking about marketing, non-marketing, and unsubscribe? It's because all the contacts within your database are not necessarily those people whom you send out email campaigns to on a regular basis. That's not the case, right? Because you will send out email campaigns only to the people who have been marked under the marketing contacts category. But then there are certain sets of people who might have already been a part of your mailing list in the past but currently are not interested. So you know that you can reach out to them with a re-engagement campaign somewhere near the holiday season, but currently they don't want any email campaigns from you. So you can mark them under the non-marketing category. However, the unsubscribed category helps you understand who are those people who have unsubscribed from your list, who are the ones who are not interested to receive any kind of email content from you. So later on, if you tend to chance, if you have a chance to come across them again, your database will tell you that they are not interested to receive any email content from you. So you will definitely not go ahead and ask them again. Again, in this case, you will understand the pattern of the people who have unsubscribed from receiving your content. It can be related to a particular topic. It can be related to a particular segment. So that will also help you understand if there's anything wrong, where and how it has gone wrong. Here I was talking about the topic aspect. Now you have to provide a topic to a contact every time a contact enters your database. What happens with regards to this is you are already telling the people, or you're already telling the people within the system, within your organization, that what topic has to be sent to whom. This can be done from your side, And then after sending out email campaigns to them based on those particular topics, you will see their engagement, and then you can ask them if certain subscription have to be changed or not. This topic helps you get the third and the most important level of personalization, or what I call is accuracy. In this case, your lists help you understand how they have come into this particular system. Your segments will give you a better understanding with regards to their data, with regards to the commonality in their data, or with regards to the commonality in their engagement metrics or procedure. But topics will tell you what kind of content do they want from you. If you implement these rules or these procedures properly, there are very less chances that you will run into a wrong contact or you will send out a wrong email campaign to anyone. We'll talk about the requisites of campaign creation. Now, campaign creation, as we know, it includes many a thing, and some of them are definitely related to design and content creation. Let's say we create an email campaign. Now, requisites of campaign creation, as we talked about. First, we are going to talk about the drag and drop editor to create an email campaign, to create an engaging email campaign. However, before that, I also wanted to talk about a few things. Let's take a look at it. If you click on create campaign from the campaign section, you can go ahead and create a campaign. You can not only create a regular campaign, but you can create the advanced campaigns also alongside. If you want to test out an email campaign between two groups of or sets of people within your segment or your list, you can go ahead and choose for A/B testing. If you want to update your contacts with regards to any update within your website or web page, automatically after a certain period of time when the update is made, you can use RSS campaigns. If you have to conduct any kind of meeting, webinar, or any sort of online class or something like that, so you can go ahead and bring your contacts from Zoho meeting with the integration, and then you can go ahead and create a meeting related campaign over here, such as webinar, Eventbrite, Survey Monkey for survey campaigns, so on and so forth. So today we will do what we will do is we'll create a normal email campaign over here. Let's take, for instance, Zilker stores. Now we will take a topic. In case of subject, sender name, and recipient, you have to be very careful with regards to these. If you are giving a subject, you have to give a subject which has to meet certain criteria within 150 characters. At the same point of time, it needs to be free from all sorts of spam related words. It has to be very terse and it has to be very accurate and very brief. Your pre-header has to be like a bridge between your subject line and your content. It has to tell briefly what your email is about. At the same point of time, it has to be completely associated with the subject line that you're providing. You can also personalize over here with requisite fields that are provided. You can also add emoticons. In sender, you can go ahead and provide your sender name or anyone's sender name that you want to with regards to your organization. In the recipient section, now here comes the catch. You can either choose from a list or a segment. Now, if you choose a list or a segment, it will take into account that the particular segment or the particular list is taken, and people within those particular segment or particular list who have that particular topic under them will receive this email campaign. So, as I told you, like your segments, as you know, are scattered all over the organization. So, if you go ahead and choose a particular segment, so those segments can have people from different lists. It needn't matter. They can be people from different parts, different lists within the organization, and they might have one common point, and that is the topic. So, people under those segments who have opted for that particular topic can go ahead and receive this kind of email campaign. So when you're creating the content, that's what we were talking about. So you can go for a safe template from your library. You can go for a basic template if you want a basic layout and you want to go ahead and provide your images over here. You want to go ahead and do some basic email template designing, you can do it. You can also opt for the pre-designed templates that we prefer. Just choose a template. As you can see, this is the template designer section. This is the template or designer section of the email creation section. This is also the template designer canvas that we call. So on the left hand side, you will see the different elements. On the right side, you will see the canvas where you have to play around. Elements, layouts, and designs. As you can see very clearly, it's provided over here. Now, I wanted to talk about a few elements from here. Number one is the button element. As you can see, this is a CTA button. Now, we already have a CTA button over here. If you don't have a CTA button, in this case, you will have to take the CTA button, the one of your choice, and just drag and drop it to the desired location within that email template as you want. Now, there are a few things that we always know, that is, be it a newspaper or be it an article over the internet, we are always pressed for time. We always try to read something on the go in a very quick manner. Now, what happens is in a newspaper, we call that portion as above the fold, precisely the most important section in the entire newspaper where most of the important news is provided. In this case, as well, in the email template, you can call this as above the fold and make sure that your above the fold section contains the most important eye-catching element within the entire template. Not only that, it should also be the most informative and the most effective portion as well. Now, you can provide a hero image over here, you can provide the title, but make sure that you provide the brand name and a CTA button. Because what you do is, if you don't provide a CTA button over here, also, you have to be very strategic. Your content needs to drive your audience to the CTA button, even if that is placed in the second fold. But why CTA becomes important? Because CTA is an element that demands engagement, demands interaction. So it's an interactive element. Your CTA helps you understand how many people engaged with your email content. Open rates, again, are good, but that needn't be taken into account as the primary or the most important factor of engagement. Click-through rates, click rates, unique clicks, these should be always taken into account because these will tell you who are those very interested people within your database, within your contact lists who are actually interested to receive content from you. Next, I wanted to talk about personalization in this section. As you can see, we have this option for dynamic content. First, I'll tell you what dynamic content does. Let's say you have 50 people within your database, your mailing list, or your segments. There are 50 people. And of those 50 people, there are 10 people who are your seasoned customers, who are your old customers. Now, you can definitely want to treat them in a special way than the other regular customers. You can definitely go ahead and send them an email campaign that is different from the other customers. Previously, let's say in email marketing in the rudimentary stages, in the old days, what people used to do, they used to create different versions of campaigns or different versions of email campaigns and send them out. But those different versions were very hectic because again it demanded a lot of time and a lot of effort. With dynamic content, what you can do is, as you can see, this is paragraph option, this is an image, this is an image and text option, this is a CTA button, so it's an interactive element option. You can choose either of these elements, drag and drop it to a desired location, and you can create another version of your email template. So when you're sending out the email campaign, your regular version goes to the 40 people who are your regular customers, but your 10 customers or the 10 unique customers, they get to receive the dynamic version that you have created, the different version or the more personalized version that you have created for them. After dynamic content, there's another element of personalization. The most basic element of personalization that you can go ahead and employ is the merge tag. Now, within the merge tag, you have the contact merge tag. As you can see, it talks about contact email address, first name, last name. Now, how good does it feel when someone addresses us by our first name? You can do that too in your email campaigns. It's as simple as that. Simply when you just go and knock at someone's door, you will definitely go and ask that person as to how that person is. But before that, what you do is you try to address that person by the name. So when you do that, you definitely create a sense of personalization, and that personal touch creates a sense of relevance between the message conveyor and the person on the other side who is receiving the email or is listening to your message. This sense of relevance is very important in any form of marketing, and definitely in terms of email marketing, where you might be sending out one email to, let's say, 1,000 people. But all those 1,000 people on the other side, they will be sitting and expecting the email to be addressed in such a way that it should feel like a one to one conversation. That is the unique thing that you can achieve with email marketing. And such tools of personalization help you achieve such feats. We talked about employing personalization to fetch more interaction. Again, interactive elements like CTA buttons, very interesting, very important, and levels of personalization that we already talked about. And also, you have to strategize your email template in such a way that the people are driven to that particular section of interaction. Strategically, you have to place your elements in the desired places to get the desired metrics. Again, if you spend some quality time in this level, while creating the campaign, you might not need to spend more time while going through the reports. Then you will not have to sit down and see to it where things went wrong or where your engagement metrics have dipped, where you could have done better. If you take some time and if you go ahead and go through these prerequisites and follow all the regulations properly, then you will definitely, at the end of the day, you will definitely understand how better or effective your email marketing has become. Then we'll talk about mixing email marketing with SMS campaigns. In Zoho Campaigns, which is an email marketing platform, SMS campaigns is something that I believe is we provide in order to create a sense of complementary action or complementary element with regards to reaching out to people. Now, if you have a set of people who have provided their phone numbers as well as their email IDs or addresses, you will send out an email campaign to them. Now, let's say after receiving the email campaign, they might have forgotten to open the email or they might be traveling. You can send an SMS campaign to them immediately or sometime after, reminding them about that particular email that you had sent out. Maybe that was a very important update that they needed to look into. Now you can do that. So with SMS campaigns, you can reach out to people on the go any and every time you want to. At the same point of time, this works as a complementary factor with regards to email marketing. So this can increase your engagement at the same point of time. Again, the same way as you can see over here is the same way as you go ahead with an email campaign. You have to go ahead with selecting the SMS gateway. You can add the recipients. Again, there is a limiting factor. Those recipients can be added who have provided their phone numbers. Then you can provide fields, configure the fields, and finally you can go ahead and create the SMS campaigns by following the criteria over there, and you can then send out the SMS campaigns to them. From SMS campaigns, now we'll go to a very important factor in email marketing, that is workflows. Now, what does email marketing help you do? Email marketing helps you reach out to the maximum number of people out there in the market who want to receive content from you regarding the products and the services they use with regards to your brand. So it basically bridges the gap that would have otherwise been caused due to geographical limitations or time. So that basically makes your work easier, ease of work. Workflow within email marketing makes ease of work much easier. This is kind of a lever or a pulley that makes task easier by maximizing the effort and minimizing time. The end result being success. So you can create personalized journeys based on your contact's engagement. Let's go and create a workflow. Now, within the workflow, I wanted to talk about a few things. That is, we'll talk about a few elements within the workflow. Let's create a workflow. Now, in this case, what you can do is if you're creating a workflow, it has to be like there should be a reason behind creating the workflow. It can be for welcoming and onboarding of your new contacts. It can be a nurture series for a group of leads or contacts on a for a particular period of time. It can be a re-engagement series. again, re-engaging with those contacts who might have been a part of your mailing list at some point of time as marketing contacts, but currently they are not interested to receive content from you, might be interested sometime later. You can go for customer retention, e-commerce related uh, aspects with regards to abundant carts and all e-commerce related needs and requirements. There's also conditional workflow at the same point of time. So we'll go ahead and create a custom workflow today. Let's name it as Zilker Stores. So this is your workflow canvas, and as you can see, it's very reminiscent to the already existing and, as we have discussed, already shown email template designer section. Again, the ergonomics is very simple. You have to just drag and drop, just like you have to do in case of while creating an email campaign. So your workflow will be divided into three sections. These three sections are trigger, process, and action. As the name suggests, trigger definitely deals with the aspect of entry or entrance or inception, how your contacts are going to enter a particular workflow is going to be decided with regards to the trigger section. The process section basically tries to bridge one aspect or one element of a workflow with regards to the other element of a workflow. It is a link or a bridge within the journey or the workflow of a certain contact or a group of contacts within a particular period of time. Random split, as you know, as you can understand, it splits the pathway of a particular workflow based on a certain proportion or a percentage. Merge does the opposite. It brings together two different parts into one channel. Simple condition is one, as you can see on both sides. It takes into account the active and the inactive uh, contacts or based on that data, you can go ahead and differentiate or demarcate or bifurcate the journey for your contacts in two different um, in two different directions. Multi-condition, multiple conditions you can place over there, which can talk about multiple conditions that are put forward by you. Who meets which condition will decide that person's path throughout the entire workflow. Email activity is how they have engaged with a particular email that have been sent out to them. Based on that engagement, their journey or their workflow path will be decided. Action, again, sending an email. A/B testing, as we have already talked about, and you know that A/B testing basically tests two different versions of one email campaign to check which one works better. Sending SMS, we have already talked about. Survey campaigns, you can send out survey campaigns like NPS survey and other campaigns to your contacts, asking them about the prerequisite questions that you have in mind. You again find, again, this comes under the engagement category. Under the productivity category within actions, you can come across this option called add to a list. Now, depending on the progress of the people, you can go ahead and you can add them to a particular list. You can remove them from a list. You can assign a tag, remove a tag, add score, so on and so forth. You can also create CRM actions based on their development and their progress within this particular workflow. You can add their data or push their data to CRM for the sales team to handle and see to it whether they can be converted to leads or not. So let's create one particular workflow. In this case, let's take into account list entry. Now, I wanted to show something with regards to list entry, which is also common to the enter segment. In list entry, what you can do, as well as in the segment uh, entry, also you can do this. You can select a list, but here comes the catch. If you want your workflow to be sent out to your existing as well as new contacts within the list, you can choose this. You can go ahead and choose only the new contacts if it is a new workflow for new contacts like an onboarding or a welcome series that you're sending out. You can do that. If it is a regular update related workflow, if it is a regular reminder workflow or something like that sort, you can go ahead and choose the already existing contacts within that list. This is how the list or segment entry or the segment trigger works. But today we'll do something unique. We will choose date field trigger. Now, within a date field trigger, there are two options that you can choose. Date field trigger is very helpful with regards to if you have to wish someone on a particular date, or if you have an event on a particular date and you need to send out email campaigns before that. So using a custom date field always has to be based on a date field that has been provided by you within the fields in the custom fields, and people have provided their dates within that particular field. So if you have create a custom field, for example, a renewal date, if it's a subscription, if it's a date of birth, with regards to if you have to wish someone on their birthday. So those fields will be taken into account, which have been created in the date category, and people have entered those requisite dates over there. So you can allow contacts to enter the workflow anytime during the selected date or anytime as per the date that you provide over here based on your preferences. You can allow contacts to enter the workflow before a requisite date, and you can mention over here the prerequisite date that you have to provide. Last but not the least is the criteria that will decide who are the people who will enter this workflow. This final criteria will let you understand who are the people who meet all the requirements that you have provided till now, all the criteria, and only those people will be allowed to enter the workflow. Now let's take a look at the select a specific date. Now in this case, it is not based on a date field that has been chosen by the people, but this is a field, but this is a date that will be chosen by you. The best example would be a webinar. Let's say you are going to conduct a webinar on 30th of April 2023. Now you allow your contacts to enter anytime during this selected period of time, or you can go ahead and specify either. You can allow the contacts to enter before a particular period of time before the webinar is conducted. Let's say we choose this as 20 days before the selected date. Then you can go ahead and specify the criteria of the segment over here based on the field those people will enter this particular workflow. Now, 20 days you have chosen over here. Now, it's a good thing. If you have chosen 20 days, what happens is you get 20 days to engage with these people and make sure who are going to be the registrants and who are going to be the attendees. The next stage, you can go to actions. Why you can go to actions? Because the next action that you will take is after they enter the workflow, they are not going to sit idle, right? So you have to send out an email campaign to them, talking to them about the particular webinar that you're going to conduct. So you can go ahead and select a particular email that you're going to send out. So you have to send out an email to them. You can create a message over here. Now, after you send out that email campaign, you might think or consider to understand their metrics, right? Their engagement metrics. What you can do is you can put a wait condition over here, and you can wait for a certain period of time. And for that period of time, the engagement is taken into account. Now, once you do that, you could have also gone for the simple condition over here, which is very similar to the wait condition, only that it starts taking the engagement factor immediately. But wait condition provides a period within which the entire engagement procedure is taken into account. Now you can configure this saying as to who are the people who have clicked on that particular CTA that you have provided and who are the people who haven't. It can be based on two things. Contact information, as I said, you can provide your contact information and the criteria that is fulfilled. Based on that, your contacts path will be decided within that particular workflow. You can also go ahead and choose the recipient activity. So when you do that, you can see to it what kind of engagement do you take into account. Email was left unopened, opened, or clicked. Let's say we take a link was clicked. Now you select an email. Now this email definitely has to be the email that you have just immediately sent out. You have to select that particular email, and you can wait for a particular period of time before you let your contacts move on to the next phase of your workflow. Now, since you have already sent out the first email telling them about the particular webinar that you are going to conduct, What happens now is you wait. Now this is a waiting game. And when you get the first set of engagement, that gives you an idea as to who are the first set of people who are definitely interested in attending your webinar or at least registering for it. Now, the people who have been inactive, but then you can do one thing, you can send out an SMS campaign to them, reminding them about that particular webinar. Now, under that also, you can do one thing. You can, again, since you have sent out an SMS, you just hope that they will open it. And in this case, the people who have already engaged with your webinar, you can send out another set of webinar to them, thanking them for their engagement. And you will also go ahead and send out some reminder emails to them in the future during this 20-day procedure, reminding them about that webinar so that you can get maximum engagement from them. At the end of the day, you can also go ahead and conduct a webinar and you can send out the webinar recorded video to them as well. You can create two groups. Again, you can create two groups using the simple condition over there, and you can see to it one group will be the registrants, one group will be the attendees. Based on that, you can go ahead and you can send out your webinar recorded version to them as well. Not only this, your workflows also gives you the option to check the reports and repeat the successful journey. What you do in this case is, let me show you something. Now, in workflows, you can go ahead and you can check a few things. You can check the version reports over here. Now, in case of version reports, they will give you the different versions of your particular workflow that you have created. Not only that, you can take a look at the individual paths that your contacts might have gone through. You can enter the requisite email address over here and you can see which path your contact has gone through. That will give you an understanding of the contact's engagement in a more magnified form. So much of engagement that you get, so much of understanding of your webinar that you get over here, your workflows that you get over here will help you understand not only not only about the customer engagement, but also help you understand as to where did you get it right with regards to your workflows, with regards to your engagement factor. Now that the presentation is over, I want to talk to you about our onboarding procedure.
Hi, I am Nagraj, the onboarding manager for Zoho Campaigns. So, this is how it works. So, you'll be having a personalized onboarding period for 60 days from the date of subscription. You shall reach out to the email address that you see on the screen, and I shall be, discussing the business needs and your scenarios with Zoho Campaigns and help you implement with the application. So, you shall reach me out for any issues or any queries as well. So we shall have it discussed, and it would help you implement Zoho campaigns for your business. I mean, pretty effectively. Thank you.
That you have already understood the benefits regarding the onboarding procedure, we will take up questions now. You can ask your questions now and we will answer. So you can go ahead and type your questions as and when you want to. You can contact us. You can reach out to our support team at support@zohocampaigns.com. You can reach out to us via our Twitter handle, is Twitter @Zoho Campaigns. You can also contact us via our LinkedIn handle at LinkedIn. It is Zoho-Campaigns. You can also check our interactive content in Instagram as well. It is @Zoho_campaigns. You can write to me uh, at my email address, sushmit.s@zohocorp.com, in case you have any queries, any questions regarding email marketing or Zoho campaigns in specific. I would like to thank all of you for joining us for this webinar this evening. Thank you and happy email marketing.